That up for us. We did reach out to Anthropic for a response to Alex Karp's comments that came on the Claman Countdown yesterday. We've not heard back yet, but our next guest has a very pointed opinion on this. He's an investor in both Palantir and Anthropic. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive, Joe Lonsdale, managing partner of 8VC, co-founder of Palantir, big investor in a lot of AI. So, all right, where do you stand on this, Joe?
Well, first of all, I think we should all agree, we want America to win economically. We want to dominate in AI.
Yep.
And the only way we're going to do that, right, is first unleashing energy, reforming permitting, and standing up to the crazy populists. I call them the BBC. You know what the BBC is? It's Bernie, Bannon, and the CCP. And all those people want to ban data centers. They want America to lose. So we have to make sure the BBC radicals lose. And I think we're all on that side, first of all. And I think we should remind ourselves in the audience, like, that's the first of all thing. Like, we have to make America win.
Is this really, though, because I look a little bit deeper, that's our job. Is it really about AI safety and letting America win, or is it about market share? You know, Alex Karp talks a lot about how he really feels there should be regulation. He's still very much hawkish on China. And yet he says we got to let open weight models, including the ones from China, be used, be utilized. And yet then you begin to wonder, okay, what's the concern here? Anthropic is the leader in enterprise AI, and is it because he feels that too many people have to pay for Anthropic's good quality Claude?
Well, you know, there's two different debates. First of all, should we be building data centers? Should America have cheap energy? Should we win in AI? I think the answer is yes. I think all of those people would agree. I think the debate you're now flagging is between them. Obviously, there's conflict of interest. If you own NVIDIA, you own all the chips, you want like free open stuff to run on top of them as cheaply as possible. People just buy more chips, right?
Yep.
In Palantir's case as well, there's a strong incentive for people to control all of their data. And Alex makes very good arguments why some people would want to use open models with him. And listen, I think the closed platforms that we have that are innovating the fastest in AI, have a huge ecosystem around them, are very good for America. I don't think we should let them do regulatory capture. But Liz, there's another point Dario makes I do agree with, which is these Chinese open models, they're dangerous. And Liz, we have data. We've shown this consistently. If this Chinese model, this isn't AI, if it sees that you're working for the US government, it actually makes your code more vulnerable. We've seen this many times over time. So there's all sorts of ways, you know, just as I was against China being able to go on TikTok and program socialism or whatever else into our young people, I also don't want China's AI to go into our companies and be able to program whatever vulnerabilities or other kind of secret things they're going to do there. So I do think we have to be very careful about the Chinese models.
It was the Chinese model that was able to fix the Huggy Face situation, though. I mean, this is where the open AI model broke out of its sandbox. It's a little bit dangerous, and it managed to hack Hugging Face, a whole different platform. So when you talk about regulation, Joe, there is at least a report from The Information that in essence says that the U.S. is nearing an AI framework. Granted, it is basically voluntary, and who's really going to ally with that? But you know, you wonder about the advanced models. The government wants to look at them before releasing them. Are you okay with that?
You know, there's two sides to this. First of all, OpenAI was testing cyber capabilities. So all of us realize there's some danger from very advanced intelligence right now. It could be on the cyber side. These things could break into things. It could be used to break into things. They're very good at that. It could be on the bioweapons side. It could be on chemical weapons. So obviously, before you release one of these models, we need to have groups out there as fast as possible working against those really major risks as these things get smarter and smarter. I think that one could be handled voluntarily because you have very well-aligned people, and we should have smartest people in the country working on that, but we shouldn't be slowing things down versus our competitors too much. But obviously, we have to keep it safe. Now, the other side of things, China purposely releasing a model that makes our stuff more vulnerable, that does other secret things that we don't even know what it does. I frankly, I don't trust the CCP, and nor should anybody else, especially if you're in a critical industry. And so I think there's two separate areas of regulation. One of them, I think, should be much lighter and should be much more careful. I think the other one on foreign adversaries should be much stronger. Should
NVIDIA be allowed to sell its most advanced chips to China?
This is a huge debate in the administration. I have really smart friends who disagree with me. Liz, I think the CCP is just much more of a concern to me and much more evil and much more someone that kills people. So I say no. I think there's people who disagree with me and have arguments about our ecosystem and why it keeps us dominant. I think the next 3 years is absolutely critical as AI goes exponential in the world for defensive purposes, for how the Department of War works. I want China to stay behind the next few years, and I think we're more likely to keep them behind if we don't give them our most advanced chips, which, by the way, they've been stealing access illegally, too. They'll find ways through Singapore, through other places, they get access to it.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should be cutting
the
them
dark
off, in my
market
view.
for chips, absolutely. Yeah, that's been pretty much obvious. Before we go, you are an early investor in SpaceX, very early, pre-IPO. This morning, it dropped to the post-IPO low of $107. It had been, after the IPO, about $225. What's going on here, and where do you stand on amassing shares at this price?
Listen, I think it's hard to predict public markets. I think this is a very cheap price for what Elon has created. People don't realize you could make the revenue a lot higher on the launches, but he's not, because he's growing so quickly there. This is a key company for American reindustrialization. It's a critical company for our national defense. Very bullish Starlink. I'm bullish going to the moon and Mars. Just so much talent out of this ecosystem Elon's created there. It's just a critical company for our world. So I think it's a great thing to own for a long time here at this price.
Hey, I'm always thrilled to have you, Joe, on the show, because you are so in it in so many ways. You're in defense. You are in, obviously, the space world, AI, and so much more. Please come back.
Thank you.
Joe Lonsdale.